So we're going to start editing now your movie. So the top half of the timeline window is for video. The bottom half is for audio. That's what these channel A, A2, A3, V1, V2, V3. So you can just left click on your video and you can move it along the timeline. So video goes above here and audio goes down here. You can use this playhead to scrub through, or just use a space bar and it will scrub through, and you can watch the preview of the video in the top. Press the space bar again to stop it, and you can do the same thing up here with the start and stop video head. Now most people will just have you come into the video section, bring in all the video clips and then start doing it. Well, I'm going to show you a way that might make sense to you if you're a beginner, and we'll put these things in step by step. So let's just click down here on icon view, double click on this folder or bin, and then you'll have these thumbnails that you can scrub through. So I'm thinking I want to use this one next. So what you can do is just double click on this and it opens in the source panel. Now the source panel just gives you a bigger area to scrub through where you want to stop and start this video clip. If you want it completely there, or you want it just a little bit. So I'm going to start right at the beginning, and then I'm going to stop it around, let's say here. And what you can do is, this is your mark out point. Now here, if you look closely, if it has video and audio, you would just grab this and you can pull this down into this area here. You drag this on the video. So we have our video here now, but one thing you'll see that or notice is as I scrub through this, the picture resolution isn't the same as when it's over here. And you can just click on here and you can scrub through your system here. So what does that mean? It means that this one was a 4K image, and that's what we made our sequence with. This guy over here is a lower resolution. So if we go back over here and we just hit on the list view, and we will check out this woman walking on the beach here, we can just scroll along with this to take a look at our information as well that we had before. So we can see here that woman walking on beach is 1920 by 1080 versus the drone rock is 4K. That's why they look different, and she looks like this walking on the beach. So how do we fix that? So it's quite simple. You will just right click on this and do set to frame size, and now they both are the same size as 4K. The other thing that's going on with this thing is it says that it has audio and it has video, but I can tell when we scrub through this, press the space bar or what have you, there's no audio because it would be coming up here on this bar indicator here, and I can't hear anything. So we're gonna get rid of that audio just by, you can do this and see on link if it was linked together. In this case it's not. We're just gonna highlight the audio part and click delete on my keyboard, and that gets rid of this. There's no audio in this anyway, even though it had some wacky setting, whoever uploaded that. Okay, so that's our 2 clips. So how do we move these things? You can move things together by left clicking down, highlighting everything and just dragging it together, and it will move together. It doesn't matter how many clips you have here. So if we want to go backwards, there we go. I want to leave a little space here for right now. The other thing you can do here, this little rubber band thing, is actually a zoom in and out key. So you can zoom in, for example, and then move this back and forth to scroll along here. But another simpler method is, as long as you're in this window here, this timeline window, you can use your plus keys on your keyboard and your minus keys to just zoom in and out a lot quicker when this is highlighted. So let's pull in another clip of something here. Let's take these people on a moped, double click again. So in this case, I want to see where I want it to start. Maybe I want it to start here. That's the in point, and that's also, you can do I on your keyboard for in, and then you can just drag it along to where you want it to stop, and you can do mark out or out on your keyboard. This guy here, it shows there is no audio because there's nothing to drag. If there was, you could drag the video by clicking on this icon, or the audio only on this icon. So in this case, we're going to drag this, bring it down to the timeline, and we're zoomed out a little bit here, right? So we can just do our rubber bands here to zoom in, and then you can move along here. And now we can see by clicking in here, we have these guys. So this looks all okay. So the next thing we want to do is show you some of these tools here in this 2 panel. And the tool we're going to use are the selection tool, which is V on your keyboard, and the razor blade, which is a cut tool, which is C on your keyboard. And you can scrub through here just like this. And let's say we want that to start right here. There's 2 ways of doing this. You can click on this and you can just cut that, and then you can use the selection tool and highlight the part that you want to delete and just press delete on the keyboard. I'm going to do Control Z or Command Z to just show you again. The other way you can do this is if you're on the selection tool, you see as I come near to that, it turns into this little red arrow. You can just do this and drag it, and it's the same as doing the cut command, like so. I know you don't really cut the video, because if you want to replace it or go back, you can just expand it again, so it keeps it in there. It's really clever. So let's say we want to start it here, for example, so we can do that. And then we want to go around here and just get this guy to stop right there. I could use C on my keyboard, which brings up the cut tool, and then do that. And then I can use my rubber band to see where I am. And then I can just use the selection tool and press delete on my keyboard. And now what I could do is just highlight this next video and drag it over until it snaps into place here. So now we got these 2 bits of video, and this one is a bit long, so what I'm going to do is cut that down. So again, I'm going to select C on my keyboard, cut that down, and then use V on my keyboard to highlight this, use the delete key, and inside of here now, instead of dragging this like we did, you can right click in here and do ripple delete, and it will automatically bring this up here for you. So now if I hit the space bar, we have our opening beach scene, and then it will go into the next video with just a straight cut. So that's enough. Let's say we want it here. I want to stop that there and just trim it up to there. Now, using my rubber band tool again, I can right click here. I can drag this again, as long as I'm in the selection tool up here. I can just drag that and move it down till it snaps in place. Or again, I could just right click and ripple delete. So now we have our 3 little clips here, all glued together. So it's a beach effect, the lady walking on the beach, and the guys on the motorbike or the moped. Okay. So now we're using the supplied clips or ones of your own. Just making another project, call it whatever you want to. In this particular case, it's still called Practice Movie. I can check what settings this is by going to Sequence and Sequence Settings. I can see that the frame is 3840 by 2160. So that is 4K. That can be changed by going up here in custom and then typing in if you wanted it 1920 by 1080. You would do that by just changing that here. And again, you know, just something that you can do. Just check that again. But I actually want it 3840 by 2160, which is 4K. And when I hit enter, it closed it. But before I hit that, I want to show you that always make sure this is in square pixel. And this area down here says 1920 by 1080. This means this program window here. So just say okay. So we know this is a 4K sequence. Grab some files of your own, and I want to see that I want to try to get like a 1920 clip here. So if I drag this onto the video here, it's going to tell me that this clip doesn't match the settings. So when this pops up, it's talking about the sequence settings. We just set it for 4K. So if you want to keep the 4K settings, it's not going to affect the clip. It's going to say, yes, keep the sequence or timeline at 4K. If not, I dragged in a clip which is 1920 by 1080. It's going to change the sequence, not the video clip, to 1920 by 1080. So I'm going to say keep it. And now you can see that the clip I dragged in here, it looks like this because it's 1080. And as we remember from our resolution stuff, there's you can get 4 of these in one 4K clip as far as resolution. So what do we do again? So right click, and you're going to go set the frame size. So now it's at the right frame size. This just happens to be a fly through in between some trees. So just drag that and drag another clip on here, whatever you want. People on a moped, for example, and that's fine. So now we have these two. I can zoom in a little bit with this guy just by moving this. Hit my space bar, and then it's the people dragging through. Now this didn't need changing because the resolution was fine. Okay, want to get back to like we did before here. So what I want you to do is practice, you know, cutting this up where you want to, add some other movies in here and do some cuts. We're going to get into transitions and stuff later. So let's say we wanted to just see where this is coming in. And I want it to start here, for example. Now, remember there's 2 ways of doing this. You can cut it just by bringing this up, clicking on it, or doing commands, just the C key on your keyboard. Or you can click on this guy and just drag it to where you want this. And then you can move these together by highlighting them both and doing that. Now you'll notice too when you move this around, I'll click it off it, just click on one. It will sort of snap to where that is. It doesn't go past it unless you force it. It sort of snaps when you get it near to the area. The reason why it's doing that is because this snapping timeline is on this little magnet. If I click that off, it's white, and I can zoom in here just by doing plus. If I'm in this blue area here, do plus on your keyboard. And now what you'll see with this snapping tool off, you can move this around, but I can also move it just little bit by little bit. It doesn't just snap to the end of the previous clip over here. And that's because this is off. This is handy when you're trying to fine tune a clip and butt it up against another one, for example. So let's move that out the way, back to where it was, turn this on. And now when I drag this towards it, it'll snap to the edge, just like so. The other thing you can practice too while you're in here is, remember, now I don't know what this is. It says DJI 0114. Now we're in the list view, but now remember what we can do is we can go into the icon view. We're going to go on videos, go back to the icon view, and now I can see that this is this one, and if I scrub through I can see what it is. So I want you to do this type of thing, and then I want you to double click on it to bring it up into the source area here, and then play this.
Oh, Maddie, turn around.
So you can see here that the monkey goes out of frame and then comes back in frame. So there we go. There's that. I would like it to finish there. So I'm going to either do 0 for out, or I can click on mark out, and it highlights that area. I don't want all that background noise, just people talking. So I'm just going to grab, if I grab this and drag it down, it's going to bring both things down, the audio underneath and the movie. I just want, so I'll do Control Z to get rid of that, or Command Z. I just want, and I'm going to zoom this out a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. I am going to just drag the video portion down. All right. So now when we're on this video clip, there's some things that we can edit while we're in here. So if I press play, I come to here. Now the monkey's going out of frame here. So I can use this step back frame by frame. Just keep clicking on it until it's about here. And then I can use my C key and do cut. And then I can press play again. And I want to pick up where the monkey's back in frame over here, for example. A little bit further, right there. So now I can use the C, the cut tool, the razor tool again. And I can cut this here. And then I can use the V key, or I can click on the selection tool. Click on that, press delete, and then right click and press ripple delete. And now that will look like this, where the monkey's coming into frame and we pick up back over there. Instead of having all that stuff on the video, on the original video, where the monkey is out of frame for such a long time. Okay, and we're coming up in the next sections, we're going to talk about putting transitions in. So you can do things like right at that little frame area here, right click and do apply default transition. And now what that will do is come in here and sort of fade in, and then the monkey will come out the other side. My computer is just buffering because I have so many things up right now, but just like that. Makes it smoother. And we're going to get into those transitions coming up. One other little tip here is you can see that all these clips are in on the same line, V1, and it's blue here. So, you can drag the little playhead back where you want it. But one quick tip is if you're clicked in this box here, and these are on the same line, you can just use your up arrow key and it'll take you to the cuts. So you can go back very quickly. And same thing with pressing the down key. It'll take you along here. So now what happens later on, again, this is all coming up, so don't worry. I know it's a little bit overwhelming, but just for you to practice. You can't mess anything up. The clips aren't damaged. Your source clips are never damaged. They never change. If you cut them or delete them in here, nothing changes to the original clips. These are just, when this opens up, it looks for those clips and just makes a copy inside of here. It doesn't affect the original ones. So if you have other clips here on other timelines like this, and then you do that same thing where you go back, you'll see that it's sort of, and then down again with the down arrow, it skips that upper one. So the reason it does that, if you look over here, is only that V1, video 1 is on. If you click V2 and then do that, it'll then stop even at the V2 video as well as the V1. So it's just a quick way for you to get back to where you want to be. All right, so enough for editing right now. Just practice a little bit, bring in some other clips and just practice doing cuts and moving. Don't be afraid to move the things around here and mix them in like you want them just by dragging them. etc. like this, and then, you know, see how your playhead it moves and what it's doing. Just get used to that, and we'll get more in the next section.